Media.
So being in a learning state is a very, very good state to be in, being in that growth state, because it does keep your motivation high. Hi, my name is Ronnie Cruz. After almost 2 decades as a career network marketer, I realized that despite continual work on my personal and professional development, that I had hit a massive brick wall. So I took a deep and honest look at myself, top to bottom, hoping to find answers, and my search led me to one conclusion. The definitions I held of my business, of my world, of my life were the very things holding me back. If I wanted to change, if I wanted to grow beyond my current circumstances, I had to wipe the slate clean and redefine. This show is dedicated to helping you identify the belief systems, the mindsets, the very definitions that have held you back, and then help you break through those limitations to finally create the life you've been working so hard to achieve. Welcome to the Redefine Podcast. Okay, happy podcast day. Happy podcast day to you. Welcome to the show. If you are brand new, and of course, if you're an existing listener and or viewer, welcome back. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. All right, we're going to keep the ball rolling. We've been talking about motivation the last couple of weeks. Really, I think important conversations. It's that time of year where you might start to feel a lull in your energy, a lull in your motivation. And so hopefully these episodes have helped, because I want you to continue pursuing the things that you set out to pursue at the beginning of the year. One of the things that we talked about that helps with motivation is keeping your goals and your visions front and center at all times, right? Giving yourself daily reminders of your goals and visions, and not just your goals and visions actually, but why you want to achieve those things, right? Really important. I want you to, always be focused on the things that you want to achieve, because there's so many other things that you can be focused on, right? Again, this time of year, you feel a lull in your energy and a lull in motivation. It might be because you're feeling frustrated because you're not making as much or you feel like you're not making as much progress as you think you should, or you're feeling, doubts. You're having doubts as to whether or not you can even achieve those things in the first place. And the problem is, if those are the only things that you focus on, then you're going to end up quitting. So I want you to, whenever you feel that way, catch your focus, right? Catch yourself and pull your focus back on the things that you want to achieve. Again, on your goals and on your visions, right? The bigger picture is really, being more intentional and purposeful with the things that you're focused on. I mean, there's so many things that we can be distracted about. There's so much information left, right, and center that we really got to protect what's going on in our headspace. Now, another thing that can really help with motivation is learning new things, right? Acquiring new skill sets and expanding our knowledge base. Our brains love to learn. Our brains crave that growth. And that's really what this is, right? This conversation is about being on a growth trajectory. It loves being in a learning position, because number one, it's the newness of it, right? You're learning something that you didn't know before. So there's that newness and that freshness keeps you motivated. And number two, it gives you a sense of accomplishment, right? When you've acquired that new skill set, and when you've expanded your knowledge base with things that you didn't know before, it feels like a sense of accomplishment. You've accomplished learning that thing. And so it keeps you motivated to keep learning some more. So being in a learning state is a very, very good state to be in, being in that growth state, because it does keep your motivation high. Now, there are some things to be cautious about, however. I want to warn you about a couple of things. The first thing is being stuck in that learning mode, right? And never implementing. I've seen this a lot. I've seen this a lot over the years, with people that I've coached, being stuck in this getting ready to get ready mode, right? I get it that, we have to learn a certain amount, and we have to acquire a certain amount of skill sets and knowledge base before, actually implementing. But you can get stuck in that, right? You can fool yourself into thinking that, okay, I haven't quite learned this thing. I need to learn this other thing. Oh, there's another thing I need to learn before I implement. I don't want to get started quite yet. I need to learn one more thing. The thing that's happening is, learning is safe, right? The brain loves learning because it's absolutely safe. And again, it gives you a sense of accomplishment. Once you get into implementation, that's when risk comes into play. And the brain hates risk. So implementation is a no-no. Learning is all good. What ends up happening is you get stuck in this learning loop. You learn new things, you learn new things, you learn new things, and you never get anything done because you never implemented anything that you learned. So really, really be mindful of that. I know it's scary to implement, but understand that number one, it's never going to be perfect. And number two, you'll probably still have to learn more things, but learn as you go, because part of the learning process is putting things into action, and you never will fully learn and integrate that skill set or that knowledge base without putting it into action. So as soon as you've learned enough to put things into action, implement immediately. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay because nothing is ever perfect, and you'll learn more along the way. Now, the second thing you got to be careful of in the learning process is shiny new object syndrome. It's, shiny new object. It's this next thing and this next thing and this next thing, right? Being completely distracted by everything that's out there. There are, of course, countless paths that you can take to achieving your goals and your dreams, and not one of them is any more right than the other. However, the problem is not staying on one path long enough to see whether that path is the right one for you. There are a lot of distractions out there. And again, the conversation goes back to what are you focusing on? When this happens, generally the person is, number one, not fully focused on their dreams and their goals, or they aren't really clear with what their dreams and their goals are, or they're too distracted by everything else that's out there. Marketing is really, really good. So if you're not careful with what you're focusing on, then you're going to easily get pulled into this next new thing being the thing that's going to solve all your problems. So again, keep your goals, your dreams, your visions front and center at all times. The more you do this, the clearer they get, and the clearer they get, the clearer your path gets. So hopefully that makes sense. Keep learning because learning keeps you motivated, but watch out not to fall into the trap of being in a learning loop and not to fall for the next shiny object. All right, so that's going to do it for today's episode. If you're not already following or subscribed to the show, please go ahead and follow or subscribe. And if you found value in today's episode, chances are somebody else will as well. So if you could just think of one person who you think might appreciate and enjoy this content, please hit that share button. Takes 3 to 5 seconds. Write a quick message and send this to them. I would really appreciate it. It would go a long way to helping us grow this show. All right, so that's going to do it for this week. Tune in next week for a fresh new one. So until then, be well, be safe. We'll see you in the next episode.